Audible? Everything is clear? Okay. So let's start from where Paul Prabhu left last class. And today we'll be covering, I think, verses, let me see, 22 and 23. So, what I would do is first we'll read the verse and you can repeat like the word to word meanings, and then we'll go into the purport and then we'll have a short discussion. Is it okay? So today's first verse, Nama
नमः
Pankaj Pankajanaಭಾಯ
पङ्कजनाभाय
Nama
नमः
Pankajamaline
पङ्कजमालिने
Nama
नमः
Pankajanetraya
पङ्कजनेत्राय
Namaste
नमस्ते
Pankajangraye.
पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये.
So let's see what the word to word translation means. Nama, all respectful obeisances. Pankaja Nabhaya, unto the Lord who has specific uh, depression resembling a lotus flower in the center of his abdomen. Pankaja Maline, one who is always decorated with a garland of lotus flowers. Pankaja Netraya, one whose glance is as cooling as a lotus flower. Namaste, respectful obeisances unto you. Pankaja Angraye, unto you, the soles of whose feet are engraved with lotus flowers. Translation: My respectful obeisances unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who is always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. So let's see the verse. नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजमालिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये. So maybe one or two can repeat because that's the topic of today, prayers, and we'll discuss why. So if one or two of you can repeat the verse, it would be nice.
नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये.
Anyone else? Okay. Okay.
Karan Prabhu wanted to. Yeah, go ahead, Karan Prabhu.
नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये.
Okay, the next verse, 1.8.23, I'll directly read. यथा ऋषिकेशफलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्रातिचिरं सुचर्पिता विमोचिताहं तसमस्मजोभिनो त्वयैव नाथेन मुहुः पदगमात्. O Rishikesha, the master of the senses and the lord of the lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious king Kamsa, and myself and my children from a series of constant dangers. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णकृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारी श्रीवासुदेव गौर भक्तवृंद. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we are reading this sequence of verses which are very frequently chanted in most Bhagavatam classes, especially the previous verse and this verse. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajaya Nama Pankajaya Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajandraye. So this two verse, as Srila Prabhupada is saying, is the Smaranam verses or the verses of meditation. So there are different processes of bhakti, starting from Shravanam, hearing, then Kirtanam, glorifying the Lord, and then Vandanam, which Kunti Maharani is specifically doing, that is offering praise to the Lord. But this verse, the previous and the current verse, is mainly the verse of Smaranam or meditation. That is, we are meditating on what? Can anyone say? What is the meditation that we have seen in this verse? So today we'll mostly read Prabhupada's purport, therefore it will be more interaction in the sense to see how far we have understood Prabhupada's purport itself. So this is the verse. Okay, the screen is not being shared. So this is the verse. So what is the meditation upon? Why am I saying this is a verse for meditation?
You're meditating on Krishna's different features.
Exactly right. Okay. So yeah, I would like to have an unmuted audience, but it's okay. So if you see the verse, Nama means paying my obeisances, right? Okay. Pankaja, the word panka means mud. Okay, and aja means born. Okay, so aja means born, panka means mud. So that which is born of mud. If you see lotus flower is generally present or generally it grows in a muddy area, muddy pond. But the lotus flower is so beautiful that it is untouched by the mud and it's all dirt. So in other words, uh, if you see the Supreme Lord is also something like the lotus. You know, he is untouched by any of the material contaminations. Even though he is present in his different forms in the material world as well as in the spiritual world, but he is untouched and unconnected with any of this. Okay. So here we are saying Nama Pankaja Nabhaya. What does Nabhaya means? In the literal sense, the word Nabhaya is basically belly button. Okay, it's the button in your belly that you see. Uh, the significance of this is Lord himself appears in different forms. So from the lotus navel of one of the forms of the Lord, which is called the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, I'm not going into very details, but from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, from his lotus, the entire universe comes up. Okay, and so everything, even Brahma is born from the navel of the Lord. Okay, so that's why the navel of the Lord here is identified as lotus navel. Okay, next, Nama Pankaja Maline. So the Lord loves to be garlanded with lotus flowers. The Nama Pankaja Netraya, Lord's eyes are as cool as lotus. Lord's glance is as cool as lotus. And the Lord's eyes are like the shape of the lotus petals. And Namaste Pankaja Angraye. That is, we are paying obeisances to the lotus feet of the Lord. That we keep on saying. The feet of the Lord is lotus feet. So the meditation here, Prabhupada is saying, let's say you see a flower, you see a lotus flower. So lotus flower should immediately remember, bring about the remembrance of each and every part of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so I'll pause here. And Prabhu, is there an option for me to divide into groups or something? No?
Yes, Prabhu, there is.
Okay.
So
So I want to do this very small exercise for 10 minutes. And then if we discuss, it would be nice.
um, so should I do it, Prabhu? As a host, I can do it, or I can make you the host.
Okay, you can divide. Just make 3 groups.
3 groups. Okay.
So meanwhile, what do you have to do? Let me say you. First thing, because after this discussion, we'll get into the topic. The group 1 would tell us some examples, references, or whatever you remember, where the word lotus is connected to the Lord. Like, let's say lotus feet. Where do you hear and how, in what context? Lotus eyes, lotus lips, etc. That's the duty of group 1. Just whatever you have heard, wherever you have seen. Okay. And for group 2, what I would want to say is find out three prayers, let's say 3 prayers that you generally offer to the Lord, and find at least one of them, or at least discuss and come to one of them, which you think should be the highest platform of praying to the Lord. So your prayers can be, you go to Lord and beg, oh Lord, give me today's bread, give me water. That can be a prayer. Or your prayer can be, oh Lord, put me into more difficulties. That is also another kind of prayer. So this is the job of group 2. And for group 3, I will enter group 3 and we'll have a discussion. So Prabhu, can you put me in group 3?
Done,
So
Prabhu.
that at the
Fish
okay.
would be put to shame by its elegance.
Okay. Anywhere else?
Yeah, then Canto 10, chapter 30, verse 25 was the marks of a flag, lotus, thunderbolt, elephant gourd, harlequin, and so forth on these footprints clearly distinguish them as belonging to that great soul, the son of Nanda Maharaj. The gopis.
Sorry, Prabhu, I just want to pause. So, I mean, I understand, okay, it's good you have maybe gone to Vedabase or searched and found, but like anywhere common or something, I mean, not like verses of, it's good if you like know the verses, but anything else like what you remember from simple things that we discuss or something like that.
Yeah, so the other ones, there were 2 that Athena Mataji mentioned. So maybe you can mention it, Athena Mataji, or
No, Shreya has a good summary, so Shreya, feel free to go.
Sure, I'll go over those. So we discussed that Lord Vishnu holds the lotus flower in his hands.
Yeah, very good. Nice.
Lord Krishna's lotus feet have the impressions of like an actual lotus on the palms and the base of the foot. Then the eyes of the Lord have been compared to lotus flowers. Even the hands, which are soft and caring like the lotus flower, which bless us.
Okay.
And even, I guess the last one is basically the Lord himself is like a lotus flower, away from all of the contamination of the material world, just the way a lotus grows in muddy waters.
Okay, so thank you. So this is what I actually, thank you, you have brought up most of the things. Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. So this is what I wanted to...
And just one more that Athena Mataji mentioned was that some of the aeroplanes of the lords are also in the shape of lotuses.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know if I'm exact. We also talked about Lord Brahma coming out of Krishna's lotus navel, like on a lotus as well. And then Lord Rishabhadev, how you know he is the Supreme Lord is that his feces and stool smells like fragrant flowers for 80 miles. I'm sure I think maybe lotuses are in there. But anyways, there were some more, but I think we hit the main ones. Thank you.
Okay. Can someone read this? Why we are discussing this? This is the purpose. Can someone read this quickly? Uh,
In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya
no,
Leela.
no. Okay. I am sharing something else.
Okay.
This is what we have discussed. Yes, Prabhu, can you read this?
Okay, if one sees a lotus flower, one can immediately remember Krishna. For example, if one loves one's child and one sees any of the child's garments or his shoes or a small ship or any of his playthings, one will immediately remember the child. Oh, these are my child's shoes. These are my child's playthings. This is his garment. This is the nature of love. So if one actually loves God, Krishna, one can remember him always.
Okay. So why we are doing this is because Prabhupada in most of his lectures is on this particular verse is telling that this lotus is used as an object for us to remember the Lord. Okay. And whenever we see a lotus, we remember the Lord, and whenever we see Lord's each body part, we connect it to the lotus. So therefore, we are discussing what each of we are giving some examples what where the lotus has been used. So the first place that the lotus has been used exhaustively is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu is providing a list of lotuses that is seen on the Lord's divine body. So it says that Krishna's eyes, navel, face, hands, feet, these are like 8 lotuses on this body. And from those 8 lotuses emanates a fragrance like mixture of camphor and lotus. That is the scent associated with his body. So, so what are the different parts of the Lord's body that you can compare with the lotus? That's been mentioned. We say lotus eyes, lotus navel, lotus face, lotus hand, and lotus feet. So total there are 8 in this way, and they are like 8 lotus flowers. Okay, and if you go to the temple and do DT worship, to see the DT, similarly, you have to see the DT as the part of the DT as different lotuses, and the fragrance that is emanated, when you offer camphor and the lotus flowers, that scent associated with that should also make you remember of the Lord. So anyway, that's the basis. But then lotus eyes we see in Brahma Samhita, Aravinda Dalaya Taksham. So Krishna's eyes are blooming like lotus petals. Krishna's eyes are full of compassion, and he is constantly watching over his devotees. In this way, the lotus eyes are doing its function. Krishna's lotus eyes. And then the lotus navel, I already mentioned, Garbhodakasha Vishnu, from whose stomach Lord Brahma comes and the entire planetary system comes out. Then lotus face in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, where Mahaprabhu is addressing to Sanatan Goswami. The beauty of each part of Krishna is being described. And ultimately they conclude that the Lord's face is the most beautiful. And in the Lord's face, which portion is most beautiful? Can anyone say what was the conclusion? Or it's it's referred very frequently. Which part of Lord's face is the most beautiful?
His eyes?
Yeah, it's nice, but its eyes are also very beautiful. It's discussed, but it's said that the Lord's lotus lips are the most beautiful. And one focusing on Lord's lotus lips, that's the highest perfection. And that's why from the lotus leaf the sweet flute is flown, and even the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the meditation, the sound form is actually a manifestation of the flute that Krishna is playing. So Lord's lotus lips are the highest. Anyway, So Prabhupada is saying why it is compared to lotus, why the face is compared. So can someone read this?
All one's desires to see the beautiful, all one's desire to see the beautiful things of this world are satisfied simply by seeing his beautiful lotus face. Just as seeing the lotus soothes our mind, seeing Krishna's lotus face soothes our heart.
So Prabhupada is giving a direct correlation between, since the lotus is very cool, it soothes the mind. Similarly, focusing on Krishna's lotus face soothes our heart. Okay, and then there are further examples that Mahaprabhu is giving. Next is lotus hands. So can someone read this? This is what Mataji already shared. Share Mataji.
One of the Lord's hands always holds a lotus. This suggests that he is assuring, sorry, my
Yeah, assuring his devotees. That is guaranteeing his devotees.
sorry, I'm on my phone, so the text is very small. His devotees, if you take my shelter, you'll be purified like this lotus. The impurity, faults, and dirtiness of the material world won't be able to touch you.
Okay, so this is the purport of Lord's lotus hands. And then, can someone read lotus feet?
Lord Krishna's feet are compared to the lotus, and his devotees are compared to the spotless, pure swans who love to play in its stems. Srila Prabhupada would often sing a related prayer by King Kulashekara with great feeling.
Okay, you don't have to read the Sanskrit, just read the translation.
O Lord Krishna, at this moment, let the royal swan of my mind enter the tangled stems of the lotus of your feet. How will it be possible for me to remember you at the time of death when my throat will be choked up with mucus, bile, and air?
Okay, continue.
Devotees are compared to the bumblebees, always eager to relish the nectar flowing from the lotus-like feet of Lord Krishna.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. So here, just like the bees, they go to the lotus. Similarly, devotees are compared to bumblebees who are eager to relish the nectar from Lord's lotus feet. And then, last one, quickly, can someone read this? And then we have to go to the next thing.
Krishna is pure like the lotus, and if we take his shelter, we can also become pure. He declares, one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus feet is untouched by water.
Okay, so this is a very vast topic, but I've briefly summarized how different lotus symbols on the part of the body of the Lord can be related to our devotional service. Now, group 2. Yeah, quickly, can one of you tell what kind of prayers and which you feel is the highest, topmost prayer?
So in group 2, we had Vishal Prabhu, Nitya Kishori, and Dhaval Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Oh, I only simply raised my hand showing that I'm group 2. Okay, I'll go. Vishal Prabhu and Dhaval Prabhu, please chime in with whatever I missed. So we discussed about different types of prayers where we pray for material needs. So when we pray for our material needs, it's okay to do that. But we also discussed that that should always be somehow connected to Krishna. For example, if we need some material thing, if we have it, we will be situated in a comfortable position, or our mind will be less agitated if we have it, so that it will lead us to a better consciousness, that we can get deeper into Krishna consciousness. So for example, if something is agitating us, that, if we have that, then, things will be cleared up. Then you can pray that if we have that, desire satisfied, then we can, that'll be one less obstacle from me getting closer to Krishna. So we also, so this is like dovetailing our material needs with Krishna consciousness.
Okay.
And at the same, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. And the
And
highest? What do you feel?
the second level also we talked about is that when we make a prayer at the end, of course, not all our prayers will be satisfied. We all know that. So at the end we can also include the prayer to have the courage and the wisdom to accept God, Krishna's plans as it comes, so that we won't be put in a position where, oh, I wanted this but I did not get this, and that disappointment won't be there, because we know that Krishna's will is always the best for us. Krishna always has the best plan for us, and we just want to pray for the wisdom to realize that.
Okay.
The highest level what we discussed was this is actually the point that Vishal Prabhu said. I think he probably will be better to say that. Vishal Prabhu, do you want to say?
Yeah, sure, Mataji. So we discussed that the verse that we always hear and we read about is like Trinadapi, Sunichana, Taroriva, Sahishnana, Amanina Mantena, Kirtanya Sadhari. So being more humble, more tolerant, respecting others, and chanting so that we can chant the holy names sincerely. So having that mode, praying that to Krishna whenever we can, we discuss that as highest.
So nice. Mostly, most of the points are covered. I hope all of you are listening, because I wanted to have this more of a discussion kind of setting. So,
Just sorry, 1 second. Vishal Prabhu, you can also say your example of what you said to apply the Trinada Pirisunichen as a practical example. I think.
Yeah, so yesterday, Gaur Kumar Prabhu told me, and we were discussing this, that so whenever we are with our someone, for example, like I am with Karan Prabhu or Dhaval Prabhu or Sumon Prabhu, so we can like think like I am the servant of Karan Prabhu and I have to serve him nicely without getting, having that mode of feeling proud that, oh, I know better than him or I'm doing this better than him. Like every moment reminding ourselves that we are the servants and just serving with humility and tolerating also. So, yeah.
yeah, very nice. The reason we call Prabhu, you are telling Karan Prabhu, Prabhu means your master. So automatically you become servant, and that's the consciousness why we call each other Prabhu. So, yeah. Okay. So Prabhupada is saying that people go to the church or temple or masjid and say, "Hey Allah, oh Lord, please give me my daily bread, my daily cloth. Please give me things which Lord has anyway given." Okay, just like food. What he is saying, things like which are basic necessities, thus is already provided by the Lord. Like even the animals, everyone can just have it. It's not like you have to actually ask Lord, and Lord also himself doesn't provide. He uses the material nature in such a way that according to whatever your needs and desires are and whatever you deserve, you will get these basic needs. So this is called the basic material needs, or basic minimum needs that are required for us to sustain. Sustenance needs basically. So these things, when one prays to Lord, it is good, but it's like the Lord has already provided. Okay, so or we have to think in our own, through our own intelligence, how Lord has already provided these needs. So these basic needs, if one goes and asks Krishna, it is much better than if one asks any demigods or anyone else, because ultimately Krishna will fulfill that and give you devotion. So this is a very basic platform. But the prayers that a devotee should offer is following the lines of our acharyas, what kind of prayers they offer. So that the first level is called samprayatmika, or you are offering prayers with lot of feelings for the Lord. Oh Lord, you are emphasizing on the greatness of the Lord and regretting our own foolishness. So the thing is like supplying food, water, basic necessities, wife, family, etc. It is done by agent of Maya. So Maya has three forms: Annapurna, by which she provides food, water, and other things. Then Durga, by which she actually, with the Trishul or with the threefold mysteries, she attacks everyone. Okay, and the third is Kali, by which she destroys. So through the external energy, Lord has already provided. The food, the water that you want, your suffering, and also your destruction. So therefore, Prabhupada is saying the first level of prayers, Lord doesn't put so much focus because it's anyway done by his arrangement. It is going on through the karma and everything. So the actually for a devotee, the basic level of prayer is praying to Lord about our own foolishness, about our own fallen condition, and glorifying Lord and begging Him for protection. What kind of protection? Doesn't matter. Whatever happens, please see that I go more closer to you. So that kind of thing. Even if it is death, a devotee shouldn't fear death. Even death is a blessing of the Lord. Because one thing, if you are dying in an old age, this body is anyway, growing old, having lot of problems. You get a new body, youthful body where you do your Balya Lila again. So it's in one way good, and in other way, after that, if you're a devotee, you have nothing to worry because you're being taken to a place where you're more closer to Krishna. So that's the first level of prayer a devotee offers. The next level is, this is very basic that a devotee generally offers. After this is called Daina Vivoda, which happens in much higher stage, where a devotee is feeling that he is the most fallen. This is like uh, everyone else is a devotee, or everyone else is seeing good qualities, and he is seeing that I am the most unfortunate. So we see different prayers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, where he says, "Oh my God, I have missed everything. I wasted my life. There is not a wretched soul like me. Please save me." Like that. So that prayers are out of humility, extreme humility. That a normal neophyte devotee may just say, just repeat. But coming from the chorus portion of the heart, that humility is difficult. So that's higher level. And the highest level is generally one wants to serve the Lord in a particular mood. Okay, a particular mood, a particular form of the Lord. So that is generally the highest level in which one actually prays, and that happens in the higher stages of bhakti. Okay, so enough of discussion for getting to the point. So I'll take 10 extra minutes. So now let's get into the verse. Why we discussed this, and now we get into the verse. So group three, basically I was part of group three, and we discussed the important points of the verse that Prabhupada is mentioning. So Jitendra Prabhu, can you quickly summarize, and then we go into the verse? So what this verse actually says?
Sure. So first thing we discussed was about deity worship. Prabhupada mentions about deity worship and how deity worship is supposed to invoke remembrance in all of us, and how the temple is such an important place for a neophyte devotee or a devotee who is trying to advance in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada writes there that all the acharyas established these temples so that the fallen people of Kali Yuga can get access to the mercy of the Lord and to the deity, and can in that way remember the Lord. So that was the first thing. Second thing
And
was,
Prabhu, 1 minute, sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Like we are actually discussing this verse as you mentioned. So here there is an important statement that Prabhupada mentioned is women, Shudras and Dvijabandhus are unfit by intelligence to understand the transcendental knowledge concerning the name, fame, attributes and forms of the Supreme Absolute Truth. So one should be very careful that here Prabhupada is saying women, Shudras and Dvijabandhus. Okay, so Shudras is almost all of us who don't follow uh, any rules and regulations laid by the Lord. And Dvijabandhu is like we are born in the family of, let's say, Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, but we don't follow the rules and regulations or the means of leading such life. So indirectly, Prabhupada is addressing everyone in this purpose. So later he is saying, but a Vaishnava is above all this. Okay, so even if a woman is Vaishnava, a Shudra becomes a Vaishnava, he is above all this. But generally, the common mass of people, their intelligence is not so sharpened that they can understand Lord's form, name, attributes, etc. So for such people, Lord is very compassionate and he appears in the form of a deity in the temple. So therefore, deity worship is very important for us to increase our remembrance of the Lord. So just as we saw different lotus marks on the feet of the Lord, on the body of the Lord, that's what we discussed so far. The specific symbolic marks on the personality of Godhead. These specific symbols, when we see through the deity, because we cannot see Krishna or Lord directly. So therefore, through the deity, when we see each portion of the deity and relate to these symbols that we discussed, this reinforces our remembrance. And throughout the day and throughout other times, when we remember that face of the Lord, the feet of the Lord, and uh, again and again remember that, that indirectly is making us, or directly is making us conscious of Krishna. So we'll see in the later stage what Prabhupada is saying, how that helps. Yes, Prabhu. So the next part. Okay, let's discuss another important thing that is there in this verse. So Prabhupada is saying one should always try to look from the Lord from the lotus feet. So first we take shelter from the lotus feet. Anytime you see a deity or Lord, first look at the lotus feet and slowly we reach to the forehead and the hair. So that's the way we see the Lord as servant, you know. Servant always is at the lotus feet. So we see first the feet and then we go up. But Prabhupada is mentioning here why Kunti Maharani is starting with Nama. What is the verse? Nama?
Nabhaya.
Nabhaya. Why from the navel, not from the feet? So can you read this, please?
Srimati Kunti, because of her being the aunt of the Lord, did not begin to see the Lord from the lotus feet because the Lord might feel ashamed. And thus, Kunti Devi, just to save a painful situation for the Lord, began to see the Lord just above his lotus feet, that is, from the waist of the Lord, gradually rising to the face and then down to the lotus feet. In the round, everything is there in order.
Okay. So here, this is the pastime that is performed. So Kunti Maharani is taking a particular role where he is senior to the Lord. She is the aunt of the Lord. So therefore, she is seeing from the navel. But we as servants should see from the lotus feet. Okay, the second point we already discussed that whenever we see a lotus, we remember Krishna and we connect each of Krishna's attributes to the uh, lotus flower. Is drinking liquor. If he drinks that liquor and says, "Oh, this taste is coming from Krishna," so that is also giving a remembrance of Krishna. Therefore, whatever may be the circumstances or whatever we see around us, everything around us, we should build our consciousness such that anything around us that we see gives us the remembrance of Krishna. That's what he is further elaborating this proper term. Okay. Next, Prabhu. Next thing. Jitendra Prabhu, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Sorry. So, Prabhupada,
You're muted, Jitendra Prabhu.
now I'm back. Is it not?
Okay, so Prabhupada is saying for souls like us in Kali Yuga, yeah, for souls like us in Kali Yuga, what are the different ways of remembering the Lord or Smarana? Yes, Prabhu. Continue.
Yeah, so Prabhupada talks about Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, as a means to remember the Lord by, like Prabhupada mentioned, Punya Shravana Kirtana, by hearing and chanting the verses of Bhagavatam, by hearing and chanting Japa. That's how we can invoke the remembrance of the Lord. So Prabhupada mentions these two means to remember.
So what Prabhupada is mentioning, even if you just read Srimad Bhagavatam, you know, or even if you hear, or even if you don't understand and you just read the verses, that itself brings you remembrance of Krishna. So you just read the Bhagavatam every day. You don't understand. Some people illiterate, but you are just reading the verses or reading the verses of Gita. So your mind is saying, okay, this Gita or Bhagavad Krishna's name. That itself will cause remembrance of Krishna. And if one is literate, read the Bhagavatam, hear the Bhagavatam, and chant the holy name. So all these are different forms of remembrance of the Lord. So whatever happens in this life, ultimately we should remember Lord at the time of death. That is the preparation. Should ultimately lead us to that point. That is, at the time of death, we should be consciously remembering the Lord. Now, there are different processes: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, so on, so on, so on. For the topmost devotee.
Sorry. Hare
So
Krishna.
if you see Bhagavad Gita or even Bhagavata, it is said that the highest devotee actually enters into Samadhi. Right? Samadhi is the highest form. Even in Prema, what happens? You are in kind of Samadhi. So you might be doing your hearing, chanting, all of these things just to bring about a remembrance of the Lord. But in Samadhi stage, we see, first thing in the second chapter, Arjuna is saying in Gita, Samadhi Ashta Keshava. Similarly, in many chapters, he is saying that one who is in Samadhi. So what is the stage of Samadhi? Complete remembrance of the Lord. So in the initial stages, we do sadhana bhakti, where we chant, we hear, we glorify the Lord, thoughts of the Lord. And in the final stage, when you have nothing else, your mind, your remembrance has nothing else than the Lord. That is the stage when it is said you have attained samadhi. Okay, so ultimately, even if you see the four stages of devotion in 12th chapter, stages complete remembrance of the Lord. Okay, so how we achieve this remembrance is that we have to go through the sadhana bhakti. And one of the form of remembrance is meditation, japa. So when we chant the holy name, we are actually meditating upon Krishna, praying Him for most there are different meanings of that, but ultimately it's a meditation process. So Prabhupada is now saying how we reach to that platform. Yes, Jitendra Prabhu, can you say anything else we missed?
Yeah.
Did we
So
miss anything
the last point I think you
before
just covered.
seeing what
That,
Prabhu?
yeah. So yes. So here Prabhupada is mentioning how we start with Shravanam and Kirtanam, because at the initial stage we might not be purified enough to render devotional service. So by hearing and chanting, we become purified enough, and then by that, when we become purified, we can start engaging in the subsequent processes, which are Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. So that is what Prabhupada is saying.
So is my voice clear?
Now it is, Prabhu, but a while ago it was breaking. Now it is. Yeah.
So ultimately, even though Kunti Maharani is praying, in the higher stages, but for us, we have to start from Shravanam Kirtanam, and then slowly get into the form of complete remembrance. So that's a very important point that Prabhupada is mentioning. Okay, so for us, we have to first become purified to actually meditate upon Krishna. So that purification comes through first hearing and chanting, and then if we chant and hear, then remembrance will automatically come. And then we'll be starting worshiping the Lord's feet. So this
Again,
is more or less what this. Okay. So this verse first, let's see what will we discuss. This verse is first telling how the lotus is used as a symbol of remembering Krishna. Clear? After that, what are the different kinds of prayers that we offer? So Kunti Maharani's prayer versus what kind of prayer we offer, and Kunti Maharani, why she is offering the prayer, she is in a very higher stage. And for us, we first need to be purified and start from Shravanam Kirtanam till we reach that complete remembrance. Third point is for people like us, the Lord appears in the form of the deity so that we can focus our mind and senses on the deity form and contemplate the different objects that has been mentioned in this verse. And the fourth point is anything and everything that you see around, it should be such that your consciousness should make you remember of Krishna. Okay, so this is the sum and substance of this entire verse, the purport of the verse that I've discussed. So till here, Kunti Maharani is first praying. First is glorifying the Lord. Okay, so after glorifying the Lord, now she is offering her prayers. First, she just glorifies the Lord. Okay, after glorifying, now we go into the next section where from now onwards she is submitting herself to the Lord and offering heartfelt prayers that we call it Samprayatmika, heartfelt prayers to the Lord. What is she telling? The next verse is a small one. Let's quickly see. Okay. I don't know why this is. Okay. So this verse is Yatha Rishikesha Khalena Devaki. Yatha means jaise, just like. Rishikesha. So Rishika means the senses. Okay, we have different senses. What are our different senses? We have working senses, we have knowledge acquiring senses. Okay, so our senses are basically the five things: the touch, hearing, smell, um, vision. Okay, these are the basic sense objects, and then we have senses connected to that, which is eyes, ear, nose, lips, body, etc. And then we also have working senses, which is hands, legs, genitals, etc. So these are all the different kinds of senses. So Rishik Isha means the controller of the senses or lord of the senses. So, who is the Lord of the senses? It's the Supreme Lord Krishna. So, therefore, in this context, why is this word Rishikesha used? It has two meanings. One is that we have to engage all our senses in the service of the Lord, because Lord is the master of all our senses. Okay. And the second thing is, Kunti Maharani here is telling that you are controller of all the senses. So basically, you control everything. So in that aspect, so please control my mind senses in that sense, or my actions, etc. Okay, so Yatha Rishikesha Khalena Devaki. So Khalena means enviousness. So very important point is one who is envious, he cannot chant or he cannot glorify the Lord from the core of our heart. So this envy is the main point why we are in this material world, because we want to lord over things. But the actual master is Krishna. but we want to lord over things. Similarly, Mayavadi, they want to become I am God, you are God, but it's not possible. So this point of envy is very detrimental for a devotional service. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam Sata means those devotees who are free from envy can only read and understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Then Devaki was the Lord of, mother of Lord Krishna. Now, why this? Is my voice breaks? So I'll finish quickly. So here, Kunti Maharani is saying, "O Rishikesha, you are the controller of senses." Okay, those people who are envious, like Kamsa. What Kamsa did to Devaki? Kamsa's sister was Devaki, and Kamsa Ruddha means imprisoned. Ati means for long time. Chiram is basically a moment. Ati Chiram means long moment or a long time. Okay. So Sucha Arpita. So Sucha Arpita means extremely distressed. So what Devaki was put into extreme was extremely distressed by the imprisonment which was done by. So important point is Kama had imprisoned Devaki. But what did Kamsa do? Kamsa killed each and every child of Devaki before the appearance of Krishna. Okay. Uh, Kunti Maharani in this verse is saying, just like Krishna has helped releasing Devaki from the clutches of Kamsa's imprisonment. In the same way, you have also protected us from the dangers, me and my children. So to such protector, I offer my humble obeisance. But here the thing is, you see, for Devaki, all her sons were killed before Krishna. But for Kunti Maharani, that did not happen. The Pandavas were protected at each and every step. Why? So Prabhupada is saying very important verse, a very important thing, that Devaki's husband Vasudeva was living, whereas Kunti was a widow. There was no one to help her except Krishna. So the conclusion is that Krishna endows more favor to a devotee who is in greater dangers. So sometimes he puts his devotees in more and more danger, because in that condition of helplessness, one can actually pray to Krishna from heart. Krishna, now I don't have anyone else. You are my only shelter. Okay, so in the case of Kunti Devi, who was a widow and had no support, for a woman, as per the Vedic culture, she has to be either protected by the husband. She has to be protected by the husband. But Devaki's husband Vasudeva was living, whereas Kunti Maharani was a widow. So her condition was more difficult, more precarious. So therefore, Krishna protected her at each instant. And she also faced more dangers at each and every stage. And at all those moments, Krishna protected her. Not only her, Saha Atmaja, along with her children. So that's why Kunti Maharani is saying, you are my sole protector. You have protected us from all series of dangers, just like you released Devaki from the clutches of the imprisonment that was done by Kamsa. Okay, and actually this verse and the next verse is connected. So I just cut it short because the next verse will continue how and what. So that's the next set of discussion. So the problem was today's both verses were little disconnected. So, I'll end here. And the main purpose of today was to read Prabhupada's purport and what he wanted to say through his purports and through Prabhupada's lectures. So everything that I discussed today, you can find in Prabhupada's 3 Bhagavatam classes that he has given, and also in the purport of teachings of 2020. Thank you, Hare Krishna, and sorry for all the inadequacies and anything that might have gone wrong. So thank you. And if we have already discussed a lot, but if still there are some discussions and anything, I'm ready to take.
Thank you, Sumon Prabhu. That was amazing. You covered so many topics. So thank you so much for such a wonderful preparation and delivery. It was very well planned, and even the breakout rooms was a wonderful idea. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
I was just suppressing everything that Prabhupada told in so many classes. So it was becoming difficult. But yeah, you can all. I just made easier for you reading the Prabhupada purpose. That's all. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice, innovative kind of. I always admire this habit of yours to engage the audience in discussions and rather than just speaking. Yeah, that is a very nice thing. It keeps the audience engaged and it helps the audience contemplate and think deeper. Also, I really admire your dedication to Prabhupada's purports, because you are, yeah, as you mentioned that you heard Prabhupada's lectures, and so yeah, that is really wonderful. That has to be the basis of whatever research we do within bhakti or, yeah, in general. Yeah, because he was a powerful acharya. So thank you very much, Prabhu. It was amazing. Learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Just quoting Prabhupada as it is makes the job easier.
Thank you, Sumon Prabhu. It was really wonderful class.
Anything else?
Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Sumon Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Very wonderful interactive class, like others mentioned. It really helped us meditate on Krishna's form and also what type of prayers. These interactive sessions are really, really helpful. And you chose the right topics for 3 different groups, and it was very well conducted. It's going to be hard following you for me to go next week. But yeah, it was really wonderful. Thank you.
Mataji, yeah, your verses are very close to your heart also, I think. Next two verses.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
If there is nothing, then I want to just play a portion of Prabhupada's class where Prabhupada is giving so much warning from this lecture. But if anyone has anything, you can say, and then we'll hear like 3 minutes of Prabhupada.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Suman Prabhu. Amazing class. I really loved the interaction. I can understand there are like some few network issue because connecting from spiritual world to material world might be an issue, but I loved how you managed. So thanks a lot, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, I can't hear any of you.
Prabhuji, I am sinful.
Hare
My voice
Krishna.
won't reach spiritual world.
Okay. Sorry, what did you say?
I said my voice will not reach spiritual world, Prabhuji. Maybe I'll text you.
Okay. Look, anyone else? What did you exactly say? I think all are laughing, but I did not hear it. Since you're in the spiritual world, no, Prabhu, all of us are in the material world only as of now. and at least the connection issue is because of filters of lust, greed, anger that's there in my heart. So because of those filters, there is lack of transfer of information. This Prabhupada is saying. I'm not saying so. So whenever there is any problem between two devotees of two people, it is because super soul is there in my heart also and in the other person's heart also. But it's coming through so many filters and it is received through so many filters. So that causes all the miscommunication that's happening. Otherwise, in the spiritual level, it's known that one knows each other so well that anything that is being spoken or even intended, the other person can understand. That's the connection we see with Bhishma Dev or other parts of Bhagavatam. The next chapter is Bhishma Shruti. So, yeah.
Yeah, got it, Prabhuji. That's why I was able to understand whatever you said. Now I know.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Anything?
Vrinda Mataji, go ahead.
Krishnan Prabhu, sorry, you were quoting such. Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yeah, go ahead. We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, Prabhu. Yeah, I'm telling. Sorry, you were quoting some nice verses from Bhagavatam and all, but for time being, I just told Prabhu, will see what Prabhupada is saying in this lecture. So yeah, sorry for that, but your verses were really nice. What you were quoting.
Certainly. I was just cheating, Prabhu. I was trying to find the shortcut to Goloka Vrindavan.
No,
Through
that's what
Google.
Prabhupada is
Through
saying.
Google.
Reading. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Reading and chanting the verses itself brings remembrance. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, very nice class of Giriraj Maharaj.
Vrinda Mataji, you want to say something? Okay, no. Okay, Prabhu, you can play the, you can play Prabhupada's lecture, right?
Okay, can you all hear? Or there is some connection problem?
She says, Vimochita aham cha sahatmaja vibhu. I was released from so many dangerous positions, not only myself, but along with my sons. So, fact is that even Kunti or Devaki, uh, so intimately connected with Krishna, uh, but they had to face so many dangers. So, what to speak of others? What to speak of others, ourselves? So, when we are in danger, we should not be discouraged. We should take courage that even Kunti and
Prabhu, it is breaking again. Maybe you can send us the link.
Vasudev and Devaki.
It's breaking.
Yes, Prabhu, it's breaking a lot. So
Even now?
Yeah.
now we can't even hear the lecture.
No, because that says stop. I stopped when Prabhu told. So it's breaking. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we all turn off our videos?
Yeah, maybe for 1 minute.
Also, Sumon Prabhu, maybe log out from the other account that you have. That might help.
Okay, I've logged out.
Okay, now try. It'll work now, hopefully.
Is it clear?
And depend on Krishna. Avasya.
Is it clear?
Yeah, now
Yes,
it
Prabhu.
is.
Yes,
better.
yes.
1 minute.
यथा
Yajadhan, Dushashan. The Krishna supplied cloth. So, for a woman in the assembly of so many men, if she is to be naked, it is the greatest danger. Ah, it is the greatest danger. And Krishna said, similarly, ah, Kunti was saved in the dangers will be described in the later verses. She says, Vimochita aham cha sahatmaja vibhu. I was released from so many dangerous positions, not only myself, but along with my sons. So fact is that even Kunti or Devaki, uh, so intimately connected with Krishna, uh, but they had to face so many dangers. So what to speak of others? uh, what to speak of others, ourselves? So when we are in danger, we should not be discouraged. We should take courage that even Kunti and Vasudev and Devaki, they were also in danger, although they are very, very intimately connected with Krishna. So we should not be disturbed by the dangers of this material world. If we are actually Krishna conscious, we should face the danger and depend on Krishna. Avasya rakhibe Krishna vishwaso palon. This is called surrender. I may be in danger, but Krishna, I have surrendered to Krishna. He must save me. Keep this faith. Don't be disturbed when you are in danger, because this world is such. Padanga padanga vipadang. Every step there is danger. Just like we are walking on the street, eh? Immediately there is some uh, pinprick, thorn, uh, and by pinprick of that thorn, it may become a boil, it may become dangerous. So even by walking on the street, by talking on the street, by eating our food, there, and in English it is said, there is many dangers between the cup and the lip. So you should always remember that this material world is simply full of dangers. If you think that we are very safe, we are very expert, we have made this world very happy, then you are full number one. Padang padang jada vipadang. But if you take shelter of Krishna, these dangers are nothing. That Kunti said, that vimochita. Vimochita means release from the danger. Aham. Sahatmaja. So this is the study of Krishna. That if you become Krishna conscious, a sincere servant of Krishna, don't be agitated by the dangerous condition of this material world. You simply depend on Krishna and He will save you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Everyone is back.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
It was wonderful.
So this is what Prabhupada is saying. The whole world is of dangers, but as devotees, we shouldn't worry. Even death is also to be taken as a blessing in disguise. So, yeah, with this, a last point. Is everything visible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So, just 1 minute. Okay, so this is today's verse. Yeah, can someone read this and we'll end?
The Pandavas, they had their wife Draupadi. She is an incarnation of goddess of fortune and friend Krishna. But still, there are so many dangers. This is the instruction that because Krishna is protecting you, you cannot expect that you will be out of danger. Danger you must meet because then you'll know that this material existence is full of dangers.
Continue.
So long you are on the sea, you are on the dangerous position. However strong your ship may be. That's a fact. So you should not be disturbed by the sea waves. Just try to cross over the sea. Go to the other side. That is your business.
So clear. Prabhupada is very clearly mentioning that. And then this is the final conclusion.
So we want to create a new generation in your country so that in the future there will be fluent speaker in Srimad Bhagavatam and preach and your country will be saved. This is our program. We have come here not to exploit your country, but to give you something substantial. This is Krishna consciousness movement.
Okay. So Prabhupada is saying this Krishna consciousness movement or discussion of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest remedy or solution for protecting us from all kinds of dangers. Okay. That one should first know that they're in danger. If you don't know that there is danger, then it's a problem. And then by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, when you have full protection of Krishna, then the dangers don't seem like dangers. So that's the remedy for whatever has been discussed. So thank you. I hope it helps. And I wanted to bring this point. You can keep your videos on now. Everything is closed. I have switched off everything.